G'day guys, Mike from the Stretcher Bearers. Today in this video we're just going to explain to you why we have meetups and why they're important and how the meetups work and what we can expect of you when you attend your meetup with your band of brothers. So these meetups meet every 3 weeks, so again we ask you to make them a priority, and when you attend your meetups everyone will get an opportunity to sit in the hot seat, and I'll explain a bit more about what that is a bit later. So when you come to these meetings are to help you or give you the opportunity to either carry the stretcher for other men, or you can actually get on the stretcher yourself depending on where you are in life. And both are okay, and that's what we're here to do, to help each other move forward. So what are the benefits of having these meetups? The first thing I'd say is that, as men we always have good days, right? Probably not. We actually need some encouragement. So that's what these groups are for. These groups are for when those down days hit you, and they will come if you haven't had any already. These are to give you some encouragement to push on. So that's the first one, is encouragement. The next one is accountability. As men, we want to actually, if we want to facilitate change, which is what we want to do, we want to advance, go forward, some changes need to happen. And we're going to ask you during the meetups to state what your changes are going to be, and this level of accountability that we have in these meetings are actually going to help you change and give you a level of accountability, so make sure those changes happen. The next thing that these groups are good for is to ask for help. There's not many avenues these days where you can ask for help if you're struggling, and it's okay to be struggling. I think that's life in general. You get an opportunity just to ask for help, whatever that looks like. Now, there's no promises that we can actually deliver on those requests, but we will do the best we can to get you the help you need. So that's another great benefit of coming to these groups. You can get to ask for help. So once you ask for help, there's an opportunity to learn new skills. Now, this is not just from, you'll get to glean from the experiences of other men that have gone through, particularly anything that you may be going through. So yeah, you'll be learning new skills as you attend these groups. The next one is we challenge and stretch you. So we're not happy with the status quo because God calls us to higher things. So we want to make sure that we keep challenging and stretching you to become the best man you can be. And why do we do that? We do that for kingdom purposes. So we want to make sure that we as men are charged with the responsibility of bringing heaven to earth, that we make sure we take up that mantle and do it well, not just by yourselves, but we do it with each other. So our job is to bring kingdom to earth. Now, I'll just share with you next is the format of the meeting. So what you'll actually be sharing in your meetings. So the first thing we do when we come to our formal part of the meetups is that we allocate you buddies. So we pair you up with someone else in the group, and like in the picture, you're there to look after each other's backs. So what we ask you to do is to do a weekly check-in. So every week, so we meet every 3 weeks, and every week that you don't meet face to face, we ask you to give your buddy a call just to check in to make sure they're doing okay, and you hold them accountable, like we said before, to the things that they said they're going to do. And I'll share a bit more about that later. But you'll be assigned buddies, and we'll ask that you make the effort to make calls to look after your mates. So the thing called the hot seat. So the hot seat is a place where you get to share a set format of questions that will build you up, teach other men, and advance your life forward. And inside each hot seat, you're only allowed 20 minutes. So make sure as you plan your hot seat responses, make sure you stick to the guidelines for 20 minutes, otherwise we're going to go over time. So what do we actually share? The first thing is we share is our wins. So the question will be asked, how have you advanced or moved forward in the last 3 weeks since the last time we met? What are some of your wins? It could be, say for me, some of my wins recently is we started, we haven't done it for ages, started doing Bible studies together with my wife. That's a big win. In the circle of spouse and leadership, I've brought that to the table, and now we're doing Bible studies on a regular basis. So that's a win, we're called to celebrate the wins with each other. So that's an example. Or another one could be, you're having date nights with your kids. That's another great win. So that's the wins. The next one is lessons. So in life, you either win or lose, but in the Stretcher Bearers, we have win or lessons. So what are the lessons that you've learned over the last 3 weeks? Lessons could be shouting at your wife doesn't get the appropriate response. That's a lesson. ignoring your budget, that's another lesson for not moving forward. So things like that, and they're not there to condemn you, they're to just to share with the other blokes, the other men in your team, in your tribe, that we're all fallible, we're all open to failure, yet if we share them, we can also learn from those failures or those lessons as well. So the next one is family. In my journey of life, I think that's something I've overlooked in bringing up my family, is not being deliberate about putting some things in place to be more active in leading our family. So my family. So what I've put into the Stretcher Bearers is this section here, where we ask you to be deliberate and share with the group what you're going to do with the family in the next 3 weeks. Doesn't have to be significant. It can be just a movie night. It can be meetups, date nights with the wife. It could be, dates with the kids. All these things matter. So we ask that you share that, and we'll hold you accountable, or your buddy will hold you accountable to make sure that you get the family stuff prioritised. And yes, that's the Adams family, and yes, I'm showing my age. The next one is help. So if you're going through stuff, I think that's what one of the criteria of being inside the Stretcher Bearers is. We want you to be open, as transparent as you can be, with no masks. So if you're needing help, then table it. We'll do everything we can to make sure we get you the help that you need. Just like the Stretcher Bearer story, where the 4 blokes put their mate on a stretcher and got him the help he needed, took him to Jesus. And more on a practical level, we'll do that as well. So share your help. And what do you need? Let's see if we can get that sorted for you. Now, the next thing is about being more deliberate about your life, and that's about your direction. So where are you heading? And if you want to choose a direction, you need a compass, and that's where the Kingdom Compass comes in. So if you haven't already, go and find the video that explains how the Kingdom Compass works, and you'll be in a better place to follow along with your meetups. So when we ask for direction, where you're heading in the meetups, we're going to ask you to this is an example of how you'd use your Kingdom Compass. So let's say you wanted to show, you wanted to work on the area in your life, you wanted to work on your spouse. So then you'd ask the question, what character do you need to bring to that relationship? And you might say leadership. I need to show more leadership with my wife. And you go, great, that's awesome. Then we'd ask you 3 questions. A bit like Back to the Future. So we'll ask you, where haven't you shown that character with your wife, and why is that an issue at the moment? So it could be that I haven't been taking leadership. I'll use my example. I haven't been taking spiritual headship of the family with my wife, and that needs to change. So that's the past. Then we're going to say, if the repercussions. So what's your future going to be like if you keep doing the same thing? Then we'll respond something like, if I don't change and take leadership of the household, then we're going to have the same old relationship, and things aren't going to be better, and we're not going to move forward in the things of God as a family. Fantastic. Then I'd ask the 3rd question, which would be, so what does it look like for you to take leadership inside the family? Take leadership with your spouse. And you could say, well, I need to start doing Bible studies with her, or listening to videos in the car, or praying at night, or whatever that looks like for you. Then we'll ask those questions. Now, at this point, your buddy should be listening in. Your assigned buddy should be listening into the things, both of the family tasks you want to do, but also what direction you want to head. They should be taking notes down, so when they give you the call during the week, they can just touch base and say, how are you going with your Bible studies with your wife, or the thing you wanted to do. So let's give another example of how you use the compass. So this could be maturity, something you want to head towards, or what direction you want to head in your life is maturity and finances. So we'd ask the question. The first one is, where aren't you showing maturity in your finances at the moment? And you could be saying, like, I haven't got budgets. I haven't done family budgets for years, or I've done them, but they're so out of date, they don't really matter. Or I haven't got my bank account set up to be control my spending, for example. That shows a little bit of immaturity. Okay, fantastic. So what's your life? So the second question is, what's your life going to look like if these things don't change? You say, if things don't change, I'm going to not have enough money in the bank, won't be able to retire, all those type of repercussions for not taking control of your finances. Then I'd ask the 3rd question is, what do you need to do? What did you need to do to bring maturity to your finances? And you might say, well, I need to set up a family budget. I need to get the bank account set up. I need to get the automatic transfers set up between bank accounts, all those type of things. And again, your buddy should be listening into what direction you want to head, and they can encourage you and keep you accountable between those 3 weeks to get those things done. So that's a quick overview of what we expect and what's going to happen inside your meetups, and when it's your turn to share inside the hot seats. And again, I'll just remind you that your buddies are really important. It's going to take you, probably half an hour maybe, or a week, or every off week to catch up with your mate. So I'd suggest that, that's something that's really important. So I'd encourage you to take that seriously, and we'll send a reminder out or you set a schedule inside your own calendar to make sure you have a time that's agreeable for both of you to just touch base. So that's been a basic overview of why we have meetups, some of the things you can expect to benefit from attending these meetups, and the format of how you'd expect to go through. Now, if you have any questions, make sure you give me a buzz or send me an email, and happy to answer any questions. But that's just the general format of how we run the hot seats. So I hope that's been helpful to you. Anything unclear, give me a buzz. This has been Mike Chin from the Stretcher Bearers. We look forward to seeing you in your meetup. Cheers, guys. Bye.